Thanks for joining me. I'm Scotty D, and this is episode 2 of the Guild D-50 restoration. In part 1, we made the bridge, prepared the neck for pulling the neck for a neck reset, and pulled it. So in this episode, what we're going to do is prep the top for refinishing, and we're going to mask off all the binding, the sides, the back, and everything. We're going to spray it. We're going to reattach the bridge and the neck and set it up. So the first thing I did was insert my special eye bolt with a threaded insert on the inside of the body, and I made a handle for the neck. It's just a male dovetail with a dowel attached. That way, when we're out spraying, it can hang from a chain, and I can manipulate the body in various, vertical, horizontal, as needed while I spray, because it's going to have a burst, and I'm going to need to do a little rotation, partially with my arm and partially with the guitar. And so, the sanding begins. And in one of the upcoming videos, we're gonna be working on this one some more. I showed you a few weeks ago how I had reattached the binding, actually all new binding. I fabricated everything, reattached, and now we need to do a little more work to get it just right and looking, to match the old existing binding on the neck. It's going to take a little stain and a little finish work. So be ready. The Country Gentleman video is up and coming. Here's another one I'm working on. Look at the amount of jizz on this neck. Can you believe someone would spooge all over a neck like that and bring it in here? I'm going to put on some frickin' gloves before I touch that thing. I got the idea for doing this by watching a video on John Larrivee, because Larrivee came in for a neck reset, and doesn't seem to be any videos out on YouTube about Larrivee neck resets, but there is a video with John. So I took this picture of the TV screen. You can see that they have regular dovetail, compound dovetails, and this is the Larrivee guitar. And this is only the second Larrivee that I've had through my doors since I opened up 6 years ago. A guitar tech down in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, recommended the customer bring it to me for a neck reset. And it's only 1/64th, maybe 2/64ths off at the 12th fret string action. So, and there was a gigantic bow in the neck. So usually when there's a huge bow in the neck and I can straighten the neck with the truss rod, I can usually get 1/64th action lowered at the 12th fret just by straightening the neck. The particular tech that referred the customer here didn't want to mess with the truss rod or anything like that. So I told the customer, that I think I can guarantee a pretty good success without resetting the neck anyways, although I researched it ahead of time whether it was a dovetail or not. And you know why these truss rod things are so scary on these Larrivees is that there's a transverse brace here, and then there's no hole in it for the truss. It's a 3/16 imperial size hex, and you don't need to use a short one or anything. You can go right. The brace is short enough where you can go in like this and get it in to the bolt. I'm in. But then you've got the problem of not being able to, have any leverage here with this short end of the hex wrench. So I just put a long socket over it like that and use the socket for my leverage. Hey, since you guys are tuning in today because of refinishing and finish repair interests and whatnot, I want to share this with you. This pick guard was on the guitar, and heat, nothing that I tried with any sort of heat was working to remove it. But I was able to remove it with denatured alcohol and a small spatula. But the double-sided adhesive, which is just a mil thick, is still stuck on the paint. And I'm kind of getting at it with the denatured alcohol, but can you see this? Look at this. See where it was right here? And I'm kind of pushing it back with my finger. That adhesive, that double-sided tape. I don't even know if you can call it tape. It's just a thin adhesive film. And underneath, it's great. It looks like clean lacquer, but I don't think it's lacquer. I think it might be poly. So what I'm going to do is put lacquer thinner on it right here and do a test to see what it is exactly. This is what we do when we have an unknown finish. And I've never done too much of finish repairs on Larrivee guitars, but start with denatured alcohol, and if that doesn't harm the finish, put a little lacquer thinner on a Q-tip and see if that creates a blemish on the surface of the finish. The finish does not seem to react to the lacquer thinner, and the Q-tip is still white. There's no yellow amber color coming up. So still think this is poly. It's not lacquer. It's not shellac. Otherwise the alcohol in the lacquer thinner would cause a reaction. Now I'll try acetone. I'm rubbing it right on the finish. And there's no reaction. So this is a catalyzed finish. This is polyurethane. The dirt comes off. Look, I'm cleaning it right here. You can rub acetone on poly finishes and it won't cause the finish to mar or cloud or scratch or anything. Acetone will dissolve any other organic finish. Now we'll start sanding the orbital sander. I'll do 220 grit and 320. Luckily the guitar was already stripped for the most part. There's just a few spots. And I'll be stopping to clean the sandpaper and inspect the sandpaper and change the sandpaper as needed. I like to clean it with a wire brush, and any buildup of corns on the sandpaper, any clogged sandpaper will cause little circular sanding scratches in the wood, which looks, totally unprofessional. I mean, not that I'm a professional guitar builder and I do beautiful finishes on guitars constantly. I just want to get in the ballpark of a decent looking finish anyways. I'll use what I know to do the best I can. We're not a refinishing business. We're a restoration business that does spot finish touch-ups and refinishing on areas as needed, like the top of this guitar. We usually don't refinish entire instruments. I don't offer that as a service, although I get calls for it constantly. I would say at least 5 every Monday I have to reply to with just a generic message that says, I recommend going to these 4 or 5 places if you're in Tennessee. If you're not in Tennessee, where are you? Let me know. I might know somebody in your state or your country. People don't ever bother telling you where they're from when they contact you about stuff like this. They just say, hey, can you refinish my guitar? I have a pink guitar and I want a green guitar. And they don't realize that stripping the finish and refinishing a guitar cost more than like 6 guitars. You could easily buy one of each color, cheaper than you could to strip and refinish one guitar. Anyways, people don't know that. I have to explain it constantly. And if you're tuning in for the first time, guys, just wanted to let you know that if you have a involved restoration or a big job like this, I started a wait list, which is, first come, first serve. I only do one per month. And if I get caught up and the monkey wrench gets thrown into the gears and I can't finish it in a month or two, you just have to wait another month for me to call you on it. And I think my wait list is already up to about a year out right now. So if you have a big, involved job, restoration work, I might not be the only one you're going to be calling. There's a lot of guys out there, and I don't know if their wait list is as long as mine, but I know some of them are sitting on guitars for 5-6 years and they can't get to them. So good luck if you have an old guitar that needs a neck reset. So there it is. That's my little window fan. It's a Lasco, and it will not create a spark. I don't care what all those other guys tell you. I met a fella, one of my customers builds those fans here in Middle Tennessee, and they don't have enough voltage to create a spark. Plus, I don't turn it on and off when there's any fumes around. It just goes and goes and goes. And over there is my intake window. There's the fresh air coming in right there. Let's spray her. I've got this shellac right here. I mixed it myself from flakes. Shellac flakes. Looks like a nice lager. So this is at the end of my first day of French polishing. Yesterday I sprayed the burst and I think 4 or 5 coats of clear over top of the burst. I shot the burst with the StewMac airbrush outfit and I sprayed the clear with the StewMac touch-up gun. I bought the shellac off of Amazon or eBay. It was just from India, kind of amber colored shellac flakes, de-waxed shellac, and I'm using the same shellac right now to French polish with. The brown color was a mix of Kalamazoo mahogany and medium brown, and then the yellow color was a mixture of 3 colors. One that I call dirty amber, which is a mixture of golden brown and vintage amber, so that's 1 color. Lemon yellow and straw, so the mixture of those 3, so it's really 4. But this one dirty amber thing that I mix up all the time, I mean, I don't mix it up all the time, but I use it all the time. I mixed it up once and I kept it in a little container and I just came up with the name Dirty Amber because it's like amber but with a little bit of brown in it. It's not quite as orange, and I really didn't want any orange in this. The picture he sent me, I'll put a picture up on the screen. Second day of French polishing. I'm about halfway through the day, that is. And we're losing a little bit of that orange peel. And I'm trying to lay it on kind of thick, build up some coats here. Let me go charge my pad. Alright, so I just did another coat. It might be the last coat I do today. I don't know. But I gotta tell you, the best thing about this shellac thing, literally, I just did a coat and it's dry already to the touch. You can put your bare hand right on here. It's got a layer of oil on it. That's what all that oily stuff is. But I can do this without using a ventilation fan without putting on a mask, without going down 3 flights of stairs into the garage, turning on the air compressor, cleaning out the spray equipment, all that stuff. I got away with a whole year last year. I did not do a single French polish job. I think I went a whole year without doing one. So starting off the year of 2025, I've got one in the books. And I actually enjoy doing it. It's one of the things that I do, one of the refinishing things that I don't mind doing so much is French polishing. When we're all done, I'll peel off that tape. And it'll be a nice fresh piece of wood there for the bridge to be glued down onto. Very minimal scraping. There's only a 1/16 of an inch line maybe that's going around the perimeter of it, maybe at the most. Same thing here. That's where the fretboard extension gets glued down. Third day of French polishing. I can go at it a little more aggressive today with the 3M Maroon Scotch-Brite pad. And I think I'm going to do a little glue boost fill and finish in this crack. May as well get rid of that. It's been bugging me the last couple days. It actually looks pretty cool with the... what do you think? It's kind of a rustic look. I mean, I kind of like it, but it's probably going to need to be a gloss finish, I guess, if we're really doing a restoration. I can really get rid of the orange peel by doing this. Anyways, I'm going to fill that in and start wiping it on again. Here we go. I finished up 4 full days of French polishing. I waited 3 days, and now I'm going to try to lift off some of the oil with this Scotch-Brite pad and some mineral spirits. And then I'll chase behind the white pad with some naphtha and paper towels. Probably doesn't matter too much. You could use Everyday Strong paper towels, Bounty, or Brawny, or Sparkle. And then we'll move into the polishing with automotive compounds, and for that I use Viva paper towels. Getting that mineral oil lifted and removed. We'll do it for both sides. So that was mineral spirits to start and naphtha to finish. Naphtha to clean. I gotta figure out a way to get all this tape off here. The old balloon test. Sounds good. It's like Christmas morning over here. Look what Santa brought me. A guild. I guess I really didn't want any overspray on this one. Shellac overspray is not the easiest thing to clean. It is some sticky stuff, guys. Sticky. There's that low-tech tape. Stew. We're going to warm up the soundboard in the bottom of the bridge with the hairdryer in preparation for the glue up. We're going to be using my favorite and what I consider to be the hottest glue in the world. That's right, folks. HHG, Hot Hide Glue. HHG, HHG, HHG. Just a pinch between the cheek and gums. Also, I scored the bottom of the bridge, the ebony wood. I scored it with a whittling knife. I put a bunch of gouged crisscross lines on the bottom there to help the glue have something to kind of grab onto, because ebony's a really smooth, non-porous type of wood, and it's just seems hard to get stuff to penetrate into it, so it needs a little extra help. I just use the hockey pucks as a little spacer, help keep the jacks parallel to the top, or the clamps, I'm sorry, C-clamps. Those are Teflon bridge pins. Just index the bridge, keep it from sliding. I use some soft touch pliers to tighten it down a little bit beyond finger tightness. All right. I waited 10 minutes and I came back to clean it up and it was still liquid. So I waited another 10 minutes. I came back 10 minutes later and it was totally dry. So now I had to break out the wet paper towel with a wood stick and a wet Q-tip to clean her all up. Got to do what you got to do. Shellac doesn't like water that much, so I go chase right behind it. Also, I fixed that piece of the dovetail that got blown off by the old strap button screw, and I plugged the old dowel hole and did a finish repair while it was standing upright in that jack there. Or in the... Okay, now I'm figuring out where to route the new saddle slot, and once that's in, I check for string alignment on my next set and decide where to put the shim on the dovetail. Bridge is all ready to go. I polished up the shellac. She's looking good. Now I'm checking to see if I'm ready for final assembly. I'll attach a wedge under the fingerboard extension and do a couple more sandpaper pulls to increase the neck angle just a little bit more and get a nice tight fit. Probably do like 7 pulls on each side. I set it down on the floor and press the fretboard up against the desk. Now dry fit. I'll use this bar clamp to drive her on home. And check both sides. Warm it up with the hair dryer. A little bit of hot hide glue here. And a little bit there. After getting all the clamps in place, I let it cure for 6 hours, and then I proceeded to make a new bone saddle and nut. I happened to realize right towards the finish line that the nut that came with it was plastic. I got rid of some of the dents and scratches in the frets with this Music Nomad fret shield and some sandpapers and steel wool. 12 through 54 strings were ready. Wow! This has been a long one. And the one last thing I forgot on the very last day of filming it, that I was supposed to do a pick guard, but if you tune in next week, you'll probably see it hanging back here with a black pick guard. And I think that's gonna really match this color scheme nicely. The whole motif, you know, real masculine. Black pick guard. Also, I noticed there's no truss rod cover. I don't think I ever saw a truss rod cover. But anyways, side. Got the deep river blues. Let the waves come along, let the wind up me home your side. Got them deep river blues. Catch you next time. See ya.